Welcome back to Nacho Wrestling, and I'm trying something a little new with the layout of the video essays, so let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Now I know the title of the video seems like some sort of all-out situation, and I'm about to shoot hard on what an empty-headed dumb fuck like Tony Khan. Sorry about that, I forgot to have my morning muffin. Tony Khan is one of the best and worst additions to the professional wrestling business, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about why that is. More importantly, why I think that is, and what Tony Khan could do or possibly should do to fix these problems. And I'm going to talk about these problems in no particular order, and there are only 5 of them. So starting off with problem number 1. Now again, Tony has allowed for fresh vision to make his way into the professional wrestling world, and after 40 plus years of Vinnie Mac and his crew running at the top of the game, Tony and his vision for professional wrestling company was a nice change of pace from the WWE. Fast forward, and there have been obvious cracks in Tony's process, and the number one for me is the women's matches, and I think that's the number one for a lot of other people. Now that most of you have clicked off, Tony Khan, since the inception of AEW, has had this issue of not being able to have more than one women's match on weekly TV, and then maybe 2 or 3, if we're lucky, on a pay-per-view. And I'm not asking for an AEW version of Evolution. No, not that version of Evolution. That one. But in the span of 2 hours on Dynamite every week, most fans have come to expect what exact time slot we see a women's match, and that would be 9:30 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. depending on your time zone. In my opinion, this shows that Tony is not putting as much thought into the women each week with giving them the same time slot every week. It just feels like he plugs in whatever singles match or tag match he comes up with that vaguely has to do with the current stories for the women. Problem number 2. The second problem that has arisen from Tony Khan and his antics is his workload. The man seriously needs to hire small circles of writers that he trusts to help him with his vision and ideas for stories and matches, especially on Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, and Ring of Honor. I know that in the past couple months he has hired Will Washington from Fightful, and according to multiple reports, Bryan Danielson has started to help out with creative. So why not give Ring of Honor to Bryan and have Will Washington handle the work for Collision? And hell, try to get someone like a Freddie Prinze Jr. or Jimmy Jacobs to maybe handle Rampage or assist you in whatever else you want to handle, and Tony Khan can handle Dynamite himself. And of course, Tony Khan can look and add all his opinions into the other shows. But Tony has the ability to produce great cards on a weekly basis for several different shows. But in the past few months, some of the creative decisions in AEW have either felt rushed, wrong, or in the case of Swerve versus Keith Lee, they never even got to have a fucking singles match on pay-per-view. And they're still kind of feuding. They had the tag match and the blind eliminator. It doesn't make any sense. And they teased another singles match. Who knows? Tony has to try and balance out his workload better, and he also needs to lay off the ski trips. Problem number 3. The third problem is going to be a bit more difficult to explain because it isn't necessarily just in AEW. It happens to be a problem within WWE as well. And this is one of the bigger problems that I believe Tony has caused. Of course, the WWE is light years ahead of AEW when it comes to brand sponsorship, sheer value, and notoriety. But why does Shawn Michaels think that he needs to do NXT Battleground versus Double or Nothing this past year? It doesn't make any sense to me personally. I watched both shows, not live. I watched NXT Battleground after the fact. Both were good shows. But AEW stole practically all the attention from the wrestling world on that day, whether it be good attention or bad attention. And that is why this third problem is going to be labeled Guerrilla Warfare tactics. Counter-programming and putting other shows or other pay-per-view events against each other in wrestling is not a successful venture anymore, especially when such a significant number of wrestling fans, diehard wrestling fans especially, want to watch all the wrestling that they can. It would be smarter to program your stuff so it gets the chance to not only shine on its own, but be recognized as a great show, so that it does not overlap with other pay-per-views, causing viewership to decrease. Problem number 4. My fourth problem with Tony Khan is his lack of self-awareness. I think Tony Khan has become the exact thing he never wanted to be, and that was a character on television and media in of itself. He has that over-the-top energy that he is sure to bring out most on media scrums, as well as the pre-pay-per-view episodes of Unrestricted for anybody who actually watches that. Even more so with Tony making new announcements at least once a month, hell, even sometimes once a week, about something new coming to AEW or a new show or anything for that matter. Tony's appearances are becoming more and more frequent, whether they be in front of the live crowd or on the new AEW Titantron. I would love it if Tony went all in, no pun intended, on the idea of him being the on-screen boss of AEW, even though he already is. I'm not saying a sort of Vince McMahon ripoff, but more of like what William Regal was doing in NXT. Like the dad that has to come out and make the big punishments, or in this case, matches. This would allow for a change of styles and programming, from shows ending with the commentary team being confused and more correctly Excalibur asking if Tony Khan will make this match official, or if Tony Khan will have anything to say about what happened with this or what happened with that. You know, it's better if you have Tony Khan come out and yell some words, make a match, and it would probably lead to a better reaction, not only from your fans at home, but your fans in the crowd, so they can get hyped for what they want already, not for what they want later. The fifth and final problem for today's video was actually going to be a completely separate video essay in of itself, but I find it much easier to just shrink it down and talk about it here. Phil Cookie Monster Punk Brooks has made his glorious comeback to AEW with his very own show on Saturdays, and if you don't think it's his show, rewatch that intro and look at the past 4 weeks of programming. I don't think there's been an entire inkling of Elite anywhere on that show, in recap packages, anything. The Elite is not there at all. Even in the logo, it just says AEW now on the AEW logo. Now, I don't think Punk and Tony themselves have beef with each other anymore. If I remember correctly from hearing from multiple dirt sheets, Punk has apologized privately to Tony Khan, and have subsequently tried to work together and move forward on the issues from Brawl Out. That being said, the continued remarks and taunting by him and the Bucks themselves have been amusing, but if they are only men acting like goofballs and children, taking cheap shots at each other without a match planned, then, in my personal opinion, it is a problem. I know a lot of people are going to say it's the Elite's fault, and yeah, it is, but it's also Punk's fault. Both parties are acting like fools and just need to cash in on the money feud soon rather than later, before everyone in the crowd gets invested in something else and forgets that this story even needs to happen. Thanks for watching today's video. Do you have a problem with Tony Khan, or do you think my problems are a little out of context? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Tony's the perfect booker and deserves all the praise? Sure, go ahead. It's your opinion. You're allowed to have it. I don't care. But let me know down in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends. If you don't have them, I understand, because I don't. This has been Nacho Wrestling, and I will see you guys next time.